And possibly one of the biggest matchups for game week 1, Newcastle against Aston Villa at St. James's Park. Aston Villa just lost Emi Buendia to a knee injury. He's going to be out for 8 months, yeah, apparently.
That's hot, bro, because he was just catching form too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, preseason, but yes, they're looking to sign Zaniolo, who, ironically enough, has had two ACL injuries, the same injury that Emi Buendia has just suffered. But tell the viewers a little bit about why you don't view Newcastle as a favorite for to qualify for the Champions League again.
Bro, I just think there's several factors, to be honest. One factor being the fact that they're in the Champions League. I think that's gonna be a big hindrance on their physical, that their stamina, their momentum, the rotation. I don't know if they have that kind of depth, honestly. And I think maybe Newcastle are gonna maybe keep Champions League off to the side then if they want to focus on Premier League. But even if they do that, the rotation is still going to be is inevitable. You have to do it, right? And to maintain that kind of consistency as a side is difficult to do. You know, we see a lot of times teams perform well one season and then the next season is just not the same, right? Like even a couple of seasons ago, we've seen West Ham, they were up there competing. But now look at West Ham. It's a totally different ball game. Who I'm actually more interested in looking at is Aston Villa, actually. I think they've made some smart signings and I think they look very good, honestly. And I've liked how they've looked under Emery since he's come in. I think Paul Torres is going to help him to play the kind of game that he wants, playing out from the back. I think Diaby is an excellent addition. I think it's going to be good for him and Leon Bailey to rotate as well on that right wing side. You have pace with both options and they can both provide a counter-attacking threat. Diaby scored a nice goal in preseason too. So I think those options are just gonna elevate Villa to the next level. And we've already seen what they can do under Emery. So I think there's more excitement for Villa, in my opinion, than Newcastle. And I might just be saying that because Newcastle already have that kind of hype as opposed to Villa. But I don't know. I feel Newcastle are my team to underwhelm next season, honestly.
So you think Villa could finish higher than Newcastle? Probably, perhaps.
They can, yes. Will they? That is still to be determined. When I say that Newcastle are going to underwhelm, I mean underwhelm from their expectations. I think everybody, just because of the new owner and the money and whatever, and they have this now kind of new, fresh hype, I think everybody has the expectations that, oh, Newcastle made the Champions League. Oh, they can't drop any further than that. No. I think that if Newcastle drop from that Champions League spot, I think the world of football is going to realize like, oh, that's a disappointment. They're going to feel like that's a disappointment because of what happened last season. But the truth is, if Newcastle again make Europe, that's another good season for them. I just think they're going to underwhelm based on their expectations. As opposed to Villa, I think the opposite. I think they are my team to look out for. I think that if there's a team that's going to surprise positively, it's going to be them.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment that you rate, not necessarily rate, but you have you're more hyped for Villa than you are for Newcastle. Of course, first one being the fact that Newcastle are in the Champions League. I can't believe you forgot this, but the second reason is they can't waste time anymore, as effectively as they used to.
Hey, but
And
that's a big point, though. You're right, because Villa's play is so attacking as opposed to Newcastle's is the opposite.
yeah, Newcastle is more focused on intensity, which will suffer if they have to play more. It's just obvious, and I just can't believe that Eddie Howe's. I mean, I guess as a manager, you're going to say that, but I think he needs to have a look in his at himself in the mirror. I mean, just admit it. You know, just admit that that's the type of football that you play. But the third reason for me is Aston Villa have strengthened to a certain extent where they needed, in a sense that they've brought in a good ball playing center back whether he displaces Tyrone Mings. I mean, let's see, they're both left-footed. But they've brought in a good young midfielder in Tielemans, but most importantly, they were crying out for pace alongside Leon Bailey. And Moussa Diaby was being linked with like top clubs in Europe, and they've managed to land the guy. That's a huge get for Aston Villa. He would have been a good signing for even Arsenal as a backup to Saka, probably, perhaps. Although whether he would have gone there, who knows. But on the other hand, Newcastle. Let's look at what they needed. Left back. I mean, they've signed Livramento, who can play both left and right, and they can possibly move Trippier to the left. But that's just a makeshift solution. They haven't signed a left back. They haven't signed a defensive midfielder. They've signed Tonali, but he's more of a box-to-box guy. I mean, I can see where Eddie Howe is headed towards, but I think there's a problem there. Right wing, they're still relying on Miguel Almiron. A Miguel Almiron who's had a good patch last season, but can you rely on him in the Champions League and the Premier League to the level that you are expecting if you want to constantly qualify for the Champions League? No. So even though they've made good signings, they've not strengthened in any of the areas that they needed to strengthen. And that is, it may be wrong. I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that Newcastle are not going to make it to the Champions League next season. I'll just put it out right there. They're not going to make it to the Champions League next season.
You made a comment about Miguel Almiron. Here's my question for you about him. Class or one season wonder?
One patch wonder.
Damn, you're not even giving him a season, bro.
No, he didn't do it over a season. He didn't. So
damn, Almiron, you get disrespected, bro. Not even a season wonder. Yeah, one patch wonder.
he's good enough if you're looking for Europa League, Europa Conference League, not when you're playing in the Champions League and you're aiming higher than that. No.
No, I'd have to agree. And, like you say, reliance is the key where that's concerned because you need depth when you're playing in these both competitions. You need to have Almiron and you need to have a next man coming on right there, right after,
And he was injured for a while last season too.
That's what I want to say. What if he gets injured?
Yeah, so I just don't see Newcastle having that good of a season as they did last year. And I'll put it out there. I'm confident that they're not going to be in the top 4 or top 5 if it comes to that. Speaking of teams missing out on the Champions League, both of these teams missed out, even though Brentford have probably had a much better season than their opponent Spurs, your favorite team in the Premier League. 20th favorite team, I should say.
You mean your favorite?
No,
your favorite team, that you thought was gonna win the league last season. Let's not forget that one.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you keep bringing it up, I don't think anybody's gonna forget, and it shouldn't be forgotten. That was a terrible take, and I will live with it. I will have to live with it. But Brentford,
you say you hold your hand up for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to, yeah. But Brentford missing Ivan Toney for the first, is it 5 months until January, right? They've signed Flecken to replace David Raya. They've signed Nathan Collins from Wolves. I mean, I have my doubts in their life without Ivan Toney. How do you think they will do without Ivan Toney? I mean, these two teams could both be without their main strikers come game time. Spurs, Harry Kane could be at Bayern.
Yeah, which is looking less and less likely, but we can definitely touch more in depth on that in a second. But Toney, I think, is a huge miss, right? On the field, the youth is just quality, bro. Like, he is, honestly, I even said for Arsenal, like, I still think we need a striker. And from a profile basis, Ivan Toney hits the money. Like, he's literally bang on the money, bro, for the profile. The only reason I wouldn't want him is the drama behind the scenes, as we are seeing now with Brentford, which is why he's out for the 5 months, like he's saying. The youth hold-up play, the youth's link-up play, and he's a finisher, bro. Like, he is the classic number 9 target man, bro. And he's going to be a huge miss. I'm interested to see how Brentford makeshift to kind of make things happen for him. But like a Embuemo, for example, how is he going to play his game? I mean, his game is so much more elevated when he's playing with Tony to link up the play with him. When Embuemo has that kind of target man to play off of, to just do one little flicking behind, it makes a huge difference when that goal kick comes in and it's going over the top and Ivan Tony just does one flick. Embuemo is key at timing those runs after the Tony flick. But without Tony, who can Embuemo link up with like that? You know what I'm saying? There was was it Da Silva? I think it was Da Silva who impressed me when I watched him in preseason. I could be wrong about the players, but I'm pretty sure it was Da Silva.
Number 10 for Brentford?
Yeah,
He's Jay Da Silva, yeah.
Left foot, right? Bro, he looks class, bro. I wonder if Brentford can kind of shift up their formation, shift up their setup and tactics, get him on the ball more and try get him to be the one to link through and slip the through balls into Embuemo, getting him running onto the end of stuff in towards goal. Maybe they can utilize the players that they do have and build it around those players. Because right now their squad is just, or their side is just fully built around Ivan Tony as the target man. Understandably though, he's quality.
I mean, yeah, Brentford are so reliant on Ivan Tony, starting with from the goal kicks to the finishing. I hope they get exposed for what they are. Their direct style of play would not be as effective without either David Raya or Ivan Tony. You know how my feelings for Brentford. I hope, and I think they will get exposed to an extent that people probably don't expect. I mean, we'll see. But onto Spurs. Spurs. I mean, would it make sense to sell Harry Kane? Because I mean, Harry Kane's style of play has changed to a more, he drops a lot deeper now, and I don't think that's the best fit for the new manager, where the new manager wants the striker to hover in and around the dangerous areas. But I mean, surely having a striker like Harry Kane, even though he doesn't necessarily fit your system 100%, I mean, he's guaranteed 20 goals a season.
The man is basically guaranteed to score. It's just insane. Like, and as you say, he's evolved his game to be able to add assists to it too. But bro, I mean, Tottenham are just in a shithole at the moment, bro. This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of moment for them. If they sell Kane, okay, they get 100 million, but who they gonna get in time to replace him? Osimhen maybe, but they still can't afford him with 100 million. And is he gonna provide the same output and effect as Kane? We don't know. Now, if you don't sell Kane, you give up the 100 million for a 30-year-old who is on his way at the end of his contract, and you risk losing him for free next season. So what do you do? It's a tough one. What would you do?
If I were Spurs?
Yeah, first, if you Spurs, what would you do?
I mean, I would have held on to him and hope that things turn around. And he seems to be a bit of a romanticist, and I would have held on to him and hoped that he would sign a new contract.
The thing is, there's just no way that I am letting an opportunity to get 100 million for a 30-year-old who is at the end of his contract. 100 million, like, that's why I think people are like, they just feel like, oh, it's just 100 million. It's like, okay, we see
100 million only doesn't even get you Declan Rice. So
no, but if we're being real, right? Like, of course, we've become way more accustomed to the deals of late, like 100 million Grealish, 100 million Coutinho, and now we've become used to it that when we see the figure, it's become like a norm. Oh, 100 million, okay. No, bro, Kane is going to be one of the most expensive players right now. And now when you're looking at the transfer market, the players of value is not just determined by ability, it's determined by age, contract length, all of this. And Kane is both of those not in his favor, age or contract length, and he's still able to get the man them 100 million. Like if I'm Bayern are the king. They are the kings of getting players for free. We've seen it. They signed Lewandowski for free from Dortmund. I'm wondering if Bayern is not, this is not Bayern's culture, why are they not just gonna wait the extra year and sign him for free at that point?
Well, to be fair, at this point, it's down to Harry Kane. Tottenham have stuck to their word of £100 million, which Bayern Munich somehow in different structures of add-ons and whatnot have seemed to reached. But it's now Harry Kane on August 10th, one day, literally one day before the season starts. Well, 2 days before, 3 days before Spurs' first game. And he's having second thoughts, I guess, because it's I mean, his wife's pregnant, he's got 3-4 kids, right? I don't think there's a wrong or right answer in this case. If he stays, he's gonna get you goals. If he goes, you're getting an unprecedented amount of money for, like you said, a 30-year-old striker who with 1 year left on his contract.
Sticky situation, bro.
But I mean, we don't know what Daniel Levy wants. He wanted £100 million. I mean, I think I just don't know what he would say if you went up and asked him, would you rather have £100 million or Harry Kane for at least a year? It could be longer.
Right. But let's look on the scenarios play out if both were to happen, right? Kane stays, signs. Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He scores the 20 goals. Tottenham still don't amount to anything. Tottenham
Which is a possibility, yes.
Which is a big possibility. Let's say Tottenham come 8th or 9th again. I know Tottenham let their best player go to any team that he wants for free, which easily could be your side, Man United, a rival side, for free. Or you take the 100 million, you've subtracted 20 goals from your season automatically, as you said, and now you're forced to scramble for a replacement. Is there a backup plan in place? Like, who would that replacement be?
They've signed Richarlison for him to play their last season. So they're replacing him.
Hold on.
Okay. I mean, that's their plan. They wanted Richarlison to play up top in case of Harry Kane's departure. So they'll probably sign players around that position. But I mean, you could also say he stays and Tottenham win the league. He scores 50 goals and breaks Alan Shearer's record, and Tottenham win the league.
Anyways, back down to reality.
Either way, my point is, hindsight is 2020 for a reason. I don't know what the right answer is. I think the right answer is for Tottenham to keep Harry Kane and hope that you can extend him. The only person who probably benefits from this is Harry Kane, most likely.
And that's the next question. What would you do if you're Harry Kane?
I mean, you can't ask me that because I'm a United fan. I'm gonna say stay and join United. But then are United of that level that if he comes and we're instantly into the title conversation, you know?
In my opinion, yes.
In my opinion too, yes. But I mean, does Harry Kane look at it that way? Who knows, you know? So it just seems like for Harry Kane, everything seems to be such a bad timing. City, no chance, right? No chance for Chelsea or Arsenal, knowing his connection to Tottenham. Could Liverpool afford him? I mean, and they've signed Darwin Núñez to be that striker. I mean, you could say the same thing about United, that they've signed Højlund, but I think it's well documented that we want two strikers at least, a proven one and a young one. We have a young one. I think the most logical destination would be United, I guess, for Harry Kane. It's just that there's no merit for an England captain who's almost bound to break the record for the Premier League top goal scorer, for him to go to Germany. There's just no merit for him, I think that's just what it comes down to.
Well, then let's look at ourselves in 20 years from now. and we're looking back on his career, and he doesn't win a single trophy. I mean, even Gerrard will laugh about to this day about not winning the Premier League. But at least the man has won Champions League.
But do we bring down Steven Gerrard for not winning the Premier League?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I mean,
Bro, what?
fans might for jokes and banter, but no sane person brings down Steven Gerrard just because he didn't win the Premier League.
No, bro, come on. I mean, the way I see that is it's defended by the fact that he's won the Champions League. But let's take the Champions League out of it. Let's say Gerrard don't win nothing. Of course, bro, like if Kane doesn't end up winning a single trophy his entire career, bro, it's gonna be questioned, right? Kane has the potential and the ability to be in the names with the best strikers ever in history. And now we're gonna be sitting here and talking about him as, oh yeah, that was a good striker, but he ain't win nothing. When we look back on the best strikers ever, we always talk about Maradona win World Cup, Pele won this many World Cups, whoever, like Ronaldo won this many Champions Leagues. We always talk about what trophies they won, what accolades they won. We never talk about, oh, they scored X amount of goals in the season. No, bro.
But we do. We talk about Pele, Ronaldo's becoming the top goal scorer in the Champions League. Pele was who scored apparently the most amount of goals in football. There's no way you're watching Harry Kane live right now. You're watching him live in his prime. There's no way you're gonna go on and say, yeah, he didn't win the Premier League. He was not one of the best strikers in the league. There's no way.
When you
gonna
look
say that.
back on it, is when you look back on it, right? Let's look at all the legends right now. Are there any legends that come to your mind that haven't won a single trophy, like a single major trophy?
So here's the thing. RVP came to United and won one Premier League, right? Nobody really looks at RVP as being one of the best strikers ever in the Premier League just because he won one Premier League title. He was
I would
great.
disagree with that. I feel like he's looked at quite respectably.
But Harry Kane is maybe 2-3 steps ahead of RVP in terms of his stature in the league. RVP had 2 good seasons, 2011 to 2013. He had 2 good seasons, 2 great seasons, I'll say.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If RVP didn't go and win the Premier League, what would his reputation be like today?
It would be lower. I hear your point, but I feel like that point is moot when it comes to a striker like Harry Kane. He's just such a great striker that it does not really matter if he wins the league or not, or win anything for that matter.
So you're telling me Harry Kane can go the rest of his career, not win a single thing, and we're going to look on him and say, and nothing has changed?
Yeah. To me, he's the best Premier League striker I've ever seen. And live. I've watched football since 2007, 6 probably. He's the best striker that I've ever seen in the Premier League live.
I thought you would have said maybe Rooney or something still, but
best striker.
Yeah, Rooney was, I guess, everything. He was every freaking attack. He was striker, cam, central midfield. Right. But anyways, back to the point about Kane. Boy, maybe you can say that, right? Maybe you can say that because, as you said, we're watching it live right now. The question is, in 20 years, I just don't feel like we're going to have that same talk about him. Even Drogba. We're looking at Drogba. When we reminisce his career, the first thing that comes to mind is the trophies he's won, the Champions League he won.
Because he was clutch. Yeah, he was clutch.
Right, he's clutch. Big man. Just, that's why I say when you look back, even like at Inzaghi, you're going to remember the Champions League win he had. You're always going to remember the trophies. Those are always going to stay there. And when you look on Harry Kane career, nothing, zilch, bro, like, that's a disappointment. And that says a lot about his mentality. You as an attacker, you as a winner, you should be saying, yo, I'm going to go and win everything I possibly can. I'm a winner. And that's the same criticism I have about Neymar, which we can get into a whole different discussion later, but it's just a matter of who's a winner and who's not. And in this day and age, in this current date of football, this time span, mentality is crucial. It is crucial in determining who the quality players are. It is no longer just skill. And that mentality, Kane seems like he's missing it.
Well, all this is going to be moot when it comes to United and he wins the treble for us. So there's no point in arguing whether he's going to retire with no trophy, because he is going to retire with 3 Champions Leagues and 5 Premier Leagues with us. But you guys let us know. I mean,
wait, hold on. Is that a pig flying outside?
Yeah.
Oh no,
yeah, you're
no,
gonna tell me to wake up from my
that's a
dream.
bird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're gonna tell me to wake up from my dream,
I
and
thought I saw the pig flying. I'm just saying. It
well,
was a bird though.
you guys let us know what you think. I mean, which side are you leaning towards? Does Harry Kane need to win something for him to be regarded as one of the best, or simply the best striker in the Premier League history? Or has he already done enough in terms of his ability? Let us know. This is the biggest matchup of the game week 1. Chelsea hosting Liverpool. They're not just playing on the field, but they're fighting off the field for Caicedo, for Lavia. Yeah, those 2 players. But
both need a midfield revamp, so understandable.
Yeah, and I know I said Liverpool are the only team that can match Man City's heights, but not with Lavia. You know my opinion on Lavia. I don't think he's anything special as a defensive midfielder.
I rate him. I think he's quite raw though, if that's why you don't rate him, but he is very skillful and very talented in my opinion. But why is it you don't rate him?
Well, first his team got relegated with him in the center, in the core.
Oh, come on, bro.
And defensively, I mean, he's going to be the lone DM at Liverpool. He's shown in so many occasions where he's just given up on a play where he was beaten. He has not shown enough awareness for me as a defensive midfielder in a way where Casemiro, like the likes of Casemiro, would be anticipating the danger and cutting them off. I've not seen any of that from Lavia. And plus, people talk about his technical abilities. I've not seen anything special from his passing. He's composed on the ball and he can get out of pressure. But in terms of his ball striking ability, nothing special about his shooting ability. His passes are average. I'm not talking about the range, just talking about the way the pass shoots out of his feet. It's just average.
Like the crispness of it,
the crispness, the way the
accuracy.
Not just the accuracy, but the way the passes shoot out of his ball. You know, when you hit the ball, like I said about, like the commentators talked about Thiago. Apparently, the ball, it sounds different when Thiago hits the ball, right? None of that from Lavia. So I don't see him as anything special, especially for a club like Liverpool. If they're going to rely on him as the main defensive midfielder for a whole season and try to win the league, no chance.
I can agree with that last statement, that if they are going to rely on him as that cog in the midfield, they can forget that. They must have different ambitions if that's the case.
Yeah, they want to get relegated because
okay, that's too far. That's but he is a quality baller in my opinion. Like, I think he's a very, very talented, high potential, right? Because he's still young, he's still raw. So those aspects of the game that you're talking about is all things that he can improve on. He has a lot of time to improve those things. But you made a good point. It is dangerous to keep him there as the sole defensive midfielder, because who's going to be his midfield partners? Szoboszlai and McAllister, 2 very attacking midfielders. McAllister arguably could drop in a bit deeper, as we've seen for Brighton, but
it would just be a makeshift.
It would be a makeshift kind of thing. But boy, Szoboszlai, I think, is going to be a killer this season. Everybody knows how much I rate him. But bro, you notice he's on set pieces now for Liverpool. You seen that?
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see who actually takes it on. But I mean, he's got a wicked kick in him. He has good technique. And we discussed this, but Szoboszlai creates up top, Trent to drop deep and create from the back. Liverpool have got a lot of potential, but they've got 2 areas to make it right. Another midfielder or 2, perhaps, and a center back. Can't rely on Matip. Konate gets injured by like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, boy, I think Liverpool are gonna be in for a long run again, but I think there's promising signs of their transformation.
Yeah, I mean, they revamped their whole midfield. Do you think both of these teams come in top? I'm just gonna say top 5 because there's a good chance that one that 1 or 2 spots for extra Champions League spot will come to the Premier League. Do you think both or either of these teams come top 5 this season?
In my opinion, yes. I made an early prediction.
Both or either.
Both. I made an early prediction on the top 5 list. Everybody was laughing at me about Chelsea, but guess what? Chelsea look good as hell in preseason. Like, it's very unfortunate about their Nkunku injury because he was the one who was really the most informed for Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson is looking good as well. The players seem like they're gelling a bit more. Mudryk seems like he's gelling a bit more. And people forget the kind of quality Mudryk has, to be honest. And he's incredibly fast. I just feel like Chelsea are in a gelling transition phase. And we talk about this all the time, about how they are an up and down side. They're a roller coaster side season after season. So can we see something like that from them again? I think so. As far as Liverpool now, again, I tell you, I'm a big Dominic Szoboszlai fan. McAllister looks good. They have players returning like Luis Diaz. Cody Gakpo is going to finally get a full season in. I think Liverpool also look exciting. To me, obviously, Arsenal and City are going to be the ones really challenging for the league. But it's between Liverpool and Man United after that. There is like, that's the first tier is Arsenal City. The second tier is Liverpool, Man United, and Chelsea are kind of on the brink. Chelsea are toggling between like a Newcastle and Villa kind of area and the Liverpool, Man United area, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with the top 5. Chelsea are ones to look out for. Remember, along with Tottenham, they're not playing in Europe. They can play their strongest 11 every single week. Whether we don't know what that is yet, and they won't be able to field their strongest 11 considering Nkunku's out for a good few months.
Yeah, it's a big loss for them, by the way. Big loss.
Yeah, probably the only experienced player on that. I mean, Sterling, do we even count him anymore? He's looked dreadful so far. But yeah, that's a big miss. And finally, they saved the best for last, of course. Manchester United against Wolves, who have recently parted ways with Lopetegui and hired Gary O'Neill, who's again coming into a similar situation that he did at Bournemouth last season. I know you put Well, I know you put Man United at kind of like the tier below, but what will make them into that first tier of Arsenal and City? Harry Kane?
Well, that would be a good start. I think an experienced quality striker would be an excellent start. That's probably the area of the field that they need the most right now. But to me, it's also a matter of depth, right? I think that there's a lot of areas in the field where you have a good starting 11, but then after that is like who's coming up. Wing is one area. I know Anthony potentially could be getting into that, his rhythm. People talk about Sancho getting into his rhythm, which is also a possibility as well. Is Rashford gonna play the wing? Yes or no? But then it's like after that, I don't know who's really coming in. Is it gonna be Elanga coming in or like, it's just very, to me, it's thin. The squad is thin. Centre back is Lisandro and is Varane. Who is after that? Lindelof? Like, to me, there's not much depth in the Man United side. And to be honest, now we're going down the field for you guys. I do not think Onana is the answer. I know you said that he's gonna make an impact like Ederson.
Why not?
Bro, you made a comment about him and his saves when he parries them into danger. And I saw that in preseason and it looks like a real threat. I saw it when I watched his highlights from Ajax. I never watch him week in, week out at Ajax, but watching his highlights, you could see a lot of his saves were like that, like you said. And even in the preseason match when everybody was like, oh, he's shouting at Maguire, like we've got ourselves a real leader, like bro, like no, bro, like the guy he parried that into danger. Any other Premier League striker.
Those are two different situations, but I hear your point. Yes,
I know it's two different situations, but the point is, people were hyping up the situation just because it was Maguire he was shouting at. If he was shouting at Bruno, would the world have reacted the same? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I was the one who brought up that point. So I mean, I 100% agree with you. His saving technique is a bit iffy to me. He makes it up with his athleticism, it seems. But I think the fact that we're going from -10 to on a scale of 1 to 10, we're going from -10 to a 9.5 when it comes to playing out from the back. I think that's got to be the biggest improvement on any team in the Premier League so far. De Gea we saw it in the FA Cup final. Every 95% of the kicks he took just went straight out of bounds. There was no way we're gonna beat City off of that. Whereas Inter were in with a good shout until Rodri scored a good goal from outside the box. So that's where I mean is the biggest impact for Onana, right? But on top of that, I mean, we've had a big change in the goalkeeper and the striker. I know he was signed for 72 million pounds, including add-ons, but I wouldn't expect too many goals from the young striker. He's not the type of player yet. He's more of a link-up guy, and he's just young. 15 goals, I'll be happy with. But if there are fans who are expecting him to come in and score 30 goals right away, convert all those chances, you're in for a reckoning because he's not scoring 30 goals.
Right, yeah. His movement looks good, it seems. His off-the-ball movement, which is key for a striker. But the price tag does look a lot, if I'm being honest. And
it is a lot.
Yeah, you make a good point, right? Just hold your expectations there. But talking back on Onana a little bit, sure, his playing out from the back might be an improvement in the side. I can give you that.
Well, I know what you're gonna say, but you're gonna concede 3-5 more goals from his parrying away into danger.
Yeah, bro. What's the first job of a goalkeeper is to save the shots, bro. You have to defend the goal. It's the same thing we say about a fullback, bro. If you can't save the ball, why you ain't goal?
I hear you. I just that is a concern for me too. But he's won the league at Ajax. He's made it to the Champions League semi-final with Ajax, made it to the final with Inter, and the manager has worked with him before. So this has got to work out for the manager. I think it will, but it has to work out because a lot of the signings are, I mean, we're putting faith in him. 72 million pounds, if everything works out fine. We'll just say 64 if he flops. 64 million pounds on a 20-year-old striker. This is not going to be accepted if this was, let's say, Jose Mourinho, who had a toxic relationship with the fans, or even Solskjaer towards the end of his reign. But we're putting a lot of faith in the manager. These things have to work out.
Right. You made a good point at the end. The faith in the manager, I think, is going to be the key for you guys because he's looking good so far, right? So why not give him a try? Why not give him a chance?
Yeah, exactly. And he needs to repay the faith. And I don't want to put any pressure on him, but he's got to deliver. We can't be getting thrashed 7-0. We can't be getting thrashed 6-3. He has to deliver because he spent so much money already. I know I don't like talking about money, but it's true. He's gotten almost everything he's wanted. He has to show it.
Right before we end, we're running out of time. But how long are you gonna give him before you call it quits on Ten Hag?
That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.